Welcome to the Transformational Coach podcast with me, Rhona Barton, giving you competence with confidence. Welcome to today's topic, which is all about handling rejection. And just before we jump into any of that, I should let you know that I've just had to reject one recording of this podcast because I didn't have the mic plugged in. So that gives you a level of understanding of where my brain and capability is at today. Let's hope this recording this time round goes better than that one. All right, how are you all doing at the moment anyway? Obviously we're progressing through lockdown with some minor relaxations to some of the restrictions we've had in place. And what does that mean for you? Are you getting out and about a bit more? Have you been able to catch up with friends, family, neighbours? Or are you sticking with lockdown for some other reason? Whatever it is, I hope you're doing well and looking after yourselves and keeping yourselves safe. Okay, as I said, today's episode is all about handling rejection, and it's part of our larger topic called Move Towards Happiness. Last week we spoke about make your own luck, and the week before was about procrastination. Hopefully you've got over all of your procrastination by now, or at least some of it, in order to help move yourself forward towards your goals, towards your dream life, and ultimately towards some happiness. Now, when thinking about rejection, I know for me one of the first things that comes to mind is rejection in work life. For example, some of my coaching clients or clients I had hoped would take on board some coaching services that I offer have gone in a different direction. That would be the politically correct term of saying we don't want you, Rhona. And I can't help but feel a little bit rejected by that. Not that it's necessarily a reflection on me personally. It could be that the services that I'm pitching don't quite align with what the organisation is looking for or expecting. So I do wonder if sometimes rejection is simply a sign that I need to keep looking and thinking about, okay, well, what's next? It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean that sometimes that emotional rejection can feel similar to a physical pain, worrying, thinking about what work could come up next, can impact your sleep pattern. It could have a physical effect in terms of giving you a headache or feeling a bit sick in your stomach or feeling as if your heart's dropped. And you might begin to notice a bit of fight or flight reaction or sensation setting in. It's never a nice feeling anyway, whether that's being rejected for a job, being rejected for a contract, being rejected by your friends perhaps, family as well. We know these rifts can happen. Being rejected in love. All of these sort of relationships don't just have an emotional attachment to them, but they can also have a physical reaction. So what can you do to help yourself? How could your rejection be an opportunity to wake up, give yourself a kick up the bum, and move on to a new level or the next level? And how is this rejection symbolising your courage and your determination and your grit to just keep going? Sometimes it's easier said than done, but in ways to handle rejection and try and get through that rejection, it really doesn't matter how old you are, what your background is, your skills or your wow factor. You're never too much of anything to be rejected. You're never too smart, you're never too beautiful, you're never too old, you're never too young to be rejected. Having said that, it still pretty much sucks. Nobody likes to feel as if they're not wanted or they're not useful. So today we're going to think about what could we do to help protect ourselves and help move on a little bit. It's not really just about denying what's happened or pretending that everything is fine or looking on the positive or the sunny side of it. It's really about learning to cope well and move on with your life, continue living towards what you're hoping for. So I suppose the first step is thinking about getting past that initial hurt and understanding that how you're feeling is normal. Feeling hurt after rejection is completely normal in terms of a response, both emotionally, psychologically, physically. And it has been shown via various research opportunities that experiencing unexpected rejection causes physical symptoms and not just emotional pain. So by beginning to understand that your pain is normal, that's one step. Another step would be to actually allow yourself to feel upset. Rejection can cause real pain. It can make you angry. It can make you quite sad. And it's perfectly acceptable to feel those feelings. It's quite common, and I think this tends to be quite a British trait, in that we think about, keeping a stiff upper lip and growing a thicker skin. And to be honest with you, from my point of view, sometimes I just think, stuff that. I'm angry and I want to be angry. So I give myself permission to be angry, to be upset, to be annoyed at myself, at the person who has rejected me. The important thing for me is that I don't end up living in those emotions for a long period of time. Where can you think about making these changes in your life? How could you express the way you're feeling? Excuse me. Cry if you need to cry. If you want to punch something, maybe aim for a pillow rather than a person or a wall or a piece of furniture. If you've got somewhere nearby, such as a forest or a mountain range, you maybe want to take yourself off for some solitude and yell and shout and scream to get it out of your immediate emotional state. And then you want to begin to find creative ways of expressing yourself. You maybe want to write things down. You maybe want to immerse yourself in song or films or poetry or art or mountain biking, rock climbing, whatever it is, to be able to physically release these emotions. Take a moment to also examine your feelings and understand exactly why you feel upset about this rejection. Is it challenging a belief you've held about yourself? Does it feel like you've had to let go of the outcome that you were hoping for? Should you be reconsidering how you're framing the outcome in your own mind? I love, there's a great quote, and I think it was by Eleanor Roosevelt, who says, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." So keeping that in mind, I want you to remember and make a list right now. You should have your notepads and pens to hand, people. Leave yourself a list of at least 10 things that make you wonderful. How do you show up as you, the individual? What makes you unique? Have a think about that. Write it all down. In the meantime, try not to lash out at other people. Stick to the facts when you're rationalising this in your own head. And obviously, if you end up with some form of physical reaction like a headache, take some paracetamol to get rid of that so you can begin to think clearly again. How are you amazing? That's what I want to know. I have in my office what I call my wall of wow, and I pin up, print out, post up various client feedbacks that I've had, positive reactions I've had from people, emails that they've sent me where they've thanked me for helping them through a particular situation, or even just a snappy comment on social media about something that has perhaps resonated with them. And I stick them up on my wall of wow. And on those days where I'm feeling rejected or dejected, generally just not quite me, I go to my wall of wow and I read through some of these and I remember the impact that I have on people. And it's a great way, I feel, to give myself a bit of a boost and a bit of a kick up the backside when I might need it. How are you kicking your own backside today? As ever, feel free to share this podcast. Feel free to spread it about to friends, family. And I do realise from some of my statistics on the various podcast host places, the analytics that they do, that I have some listeners not just within the UK but overseas, France, Germany, Switzerland, to name some. Thank you very much to all of you for listening. I hope you do find it useful. Feel free to contact me with any questions, or even just to tell me your top one thing that makes you amazing. I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, stay safe, keep well, look after yourselves. Bye for now.